Back in the building. Let's hear the echo. Let's get the playback real quick.
Echo, echo. Is it out there?
Back in the building. Let's hear the echo. Let's get the playback real quick. Yeah, why the fuck do we got the echo, man? Let's just tone it down a touch.
You gotta really learn this stuff, or have somebody.
I know.
You have to figure out how to have somebody do it.
I know, but last time we didn't have it. You know what I mean? Folks, for everybody who just. All right, we're back into it. Yes, I'm in the building. Kenny Lock. Yes, Kenny Lock, Loose Cannon in the building. We go by the name of Sticks and Stones.
Yes, we're definitely back in the building. Had to take a little break, get our minds right. We're about to touch on a subject right now that's very touchy.
A smoke break we took
Yeah.
is what you'd call it. A smoke break, yes?
Yeah.
I don't smoke cigarettes. You don't smoke cigarettes, but we took a fucking smoke break.
Yeah. We're not gonna say exactly what it was, but anything other than certain things would lead to other things. And what I mean by that, if I wasn't smoking what you think I was smoking, I wouldn't be talking the way that I'm talking.
Yeah, understood. Fucking stood.
Nice.
Me. All I've ever smoked in my life was weed, marijuana. That's it. Never smoked a cigarette. Never smoked crack. Never smoked fucking nothing.
Yeah.
Is marijuana, weed, herb, bud? Is this considered a drug? Is this really a drug?
Well, no. It's actually not a drug. It's medicine. In my opinion, if I didn't smoke, well, let me be careful with what I say moving forward. But in the past, when I used to smoke, it was something that allowed me to relax my nerves and be able to really prevent myself from getting into altercations or spazzing on people. It's a good reflecting medicinal what can food component. I think that whenever I've done it, whenever I've been completely irate or bugged out about a certain matter or situation, after a spliff or two, I look at the situation totally different. Helps me relax, helps me look at it like, wow. I'd be like, yo, fuck that bitch, man. I hate that bitch, man. She tries to take me to child support one more time, yo. I swear to God, yo. I ain't gonna talk to my daughter for like 10, 15 years. Fuck them both. You know what I'm saying? I don't give a shit. I hate when chicks act like this and try and use the kids as pawns. You know what? Next thing you know, it'd be like, yo, what's this? Granddaddy perp? Yo, let me hit that real quick.
See, my story ain't as cool. I just get hungry. Like, I smoke weed. I don't go through none of that bullshit you just said. I can't even imagine. Like, that shit sound like a horror flick what you go through. I get hungry. I like to laugh.
Must be nice.
Must
be nice.
Well, I'm glad you don't smoke no more. It was just in the past, as you said.
Yeah. I'm constantly quitting.
Like past tense, as in like 20 minutes past or like 2 years past.
I'm constantly quitting, man. I quit today, tomorrow, yesterday, 2 years ago, 5 years ago. You never know when I'm gonna quit.
Quit why though? Quit because of your health? Quit because of money? Or quit because of all the shit that's going on with drugs nowadays?
I mean, they say quit when you're ahead. Something to think about. Sometimes they say quitters never win. And they really say you shouldn't quit. Look, I leave it a mystery, right? Just like the feeling that I have is a mystery. And what's another mystery is this whole thing that we've been speaking of, what we've been speaking on the past few episodes when it comes to racism and all of these things that's happening, Colin Kaepernick, kneeling, police brutality, but the real science behind everything and what really makes the nation move and tick, what people really don't understand that I've been on for a long time on Facebook, and that's kind of why people have been following me and really telling me behind the scenes.
How do they follow you? What is your, if you can, for the audience that's out there and they want to get to know the Facebook Kenny, what's the name they search?
I mean, look, I'm a real dude. Just search me. You know, my name is Ken Lockhart, aka Ken Lock, aka Sticks. But you can call me by my government, right? As long as you're not trying to do any identity theft, and if you do, just take along my debt with you, right?
Or what about the fucking what about the collection agencies as well? Don't call neither, no?
Yeah, I hope whoever tries to steal my identity, if because in the hood, they don't like to use their government. Whoever tries to use my identity, hopefully they can take the collection agencies with them. That would be pretty cool. The collection agencies just call me like, yo, somebody scammed some of your debt.
That's the least they can do for you. At least pay your fucking a little of your debt, no?
Scam some of my debt off.
What's the minimum? Yes, miss. Well, what's the minimum? My name is not Ken, but I stole a $600 phone off of him. I stole his identity, everything he had locked in his phone. Yes, I can donate $2-3 at most.
Oh, $2-3.
It's principle. It's not about the fucking money. It's always principle with me. Just remember that.
I just want to hear a scammer. I want to get the phone call that said, "Oh my God, Ken Lockhart, somebody scammed $5,000 off your student loans." Be like, holy shit! Like, you don't get those type of phone calls, right? So, the ultimate scam that's been happening in the United States ever since they freed slavery is police piggers, right? Because as soon as you catch them in one direction, they move. It's the guy in the raincoat in the alley that you don't ever see his face, that you just walk up to and he hands you the envelope and walks away and he disappears. This is the guy that's controlling the entire world. It's called, right now, what it's called is the war on drugs. So here's the thing. It goes from Colin Kaepernick to police brutality, but it's not police brutality. It's really the war on drugs, because check it out. The reason why cops are so scared in killing unarmed African-American men is because they're taught to, bro. They're taught that it's easier to catch an African-American guy doing crime. And based on if what you're seeing with your eyes, it's obviously easier, because from a standpoint of drug usage, there's no distinct disparity from African Americans using drugs and Caucasian using drugs, or any other race. Human beings use drugs equally, the same amount, whether it's whether it's marijuana, whether it's cocaine, whether it's whatever. There's no differentiating factor component in the way that human beings are made up that will change the way that they use drugs, right? But from a standpoint of the jails and the prison system, it is maybe 75% easier to catch a black person or to incarcerate them for the same thing.
Yeah, but if you're a police officer and you just...
A pigger.
If you're a pigger and you're driving around town and you go to the nearest bagel store.
Yeah.
And you got you're bored. You got a gun on your hip.
Yeah.
You already got a job. You're basically untouchable. You can run the fucking lights you want. You can stop whoever the fuck you want. You see an older white man, 55 years old, let's say, in a tuxedo, get out of a Mercedes-Benz.
Yeah.
Walks in that hot bagel store, maybe to get his prosciutto with mozzarella and the roasted red peppers with the fancy fucking olives. Mm-hmm. Or you just see the average black dude. Let's just pick Brooklyn, for example.
Yeah.
Because Brooklyn, we understand there's a Soprano side. Yeah. Brooklyn, we understand there's the Biggie Small side.
Yeah.
So we're going to say this. So we're in a bagel store, let's just say in the middle of both of them, of both ethnicities. Folks, I am a community college graduate, all right? I can say that proudly. So, yes, I may fuck up here or there. So you're a police officer. You see a man get out in his 60s wearing a tuxedo over a Mercedes, or you see a 2 Chainz looking man walking out with baggy jeans, chains around his neck, dreadlocks. Let's say you're an Asian cop. Let's not even say you're white. Let's not say you're black. Let's not say you're Spanish. Mm-hmm. Let's just throw fucking an Asian or an Indian cop out there. Who do you believe that these cops subject that they think they have a better chance at raising their stakes of being a police officer that they are? Who do you think they will intimidate, possibly find drugs on? Because you're saying it's about the war on drugs. So what we do know about the war on drugs, like you said, is we seen a video where it says these Caucasians, 25% of them get away with it because 75% is the minority that's locked up in jail.
Yeah. Everybody's using it equally, but for some odd, mysterious reason, African Americans are pretty much the only ones really getting caught for it. And it does make sense if you look at it, right? So now here's if you break down the science of it, it's amazing. Think about it like this.
Let's break it down.
Break it down, right? Where are the drugs coming from? Obviously, there has to be some sort of ill connect. Now, I sold drugs before.
Miami, no? Scarface drugs came from fucking Miami, from what I recall.
Yeah, they probably started from that point. I don't really know. Let's just say it came from Miami. Somebody got to connect. Boom, they start moving, right? They get a hookup. They start moving their channels. Now you have, let's say you have a Caucasian dude, because number one, first and foremost, you need somebody that's going to be able to travel and do things and move and shake and have money to get product. So
which is the white man, the evil white man.
White man is always going to fall down on the white guy event. Starting off is always going to fall on the white guy, right? White guy starts it off, of course, because he's the one that can buy the birds. Now, birds, a.k.a.,
It was the Latinos back in the day, because we just spoke of Miami.
Yeah, we're talking about how it gets into the black guy's hands, right? So somehow, some way, maybe let's call it Caucasian or Latino dude gets it into the black guy's hands, right? So now the black guy has it, but look, Caucasian guy moves around, he travels, whatever he has, he already has the money. He has the expensive car, but he sells drugs, but he lives in a nice neighborhood, but he blends into his neighborhood like everybody else, because everybody in his neighborhood is driving nice cars. Everybody's white. Everybody has a nice house.
So he gets it into the black man's hands. How? Because the black man that he's passing it off to has a choice to either do it or not to do it. They want to do it because they also may not be able to drive around in that same fucking Bentley that the boss is driving around into, but they can get themselves a little BMW or something. That's a choice that they choose to take. Yeah, now, whether if you are black, white, or Spanish, you're keeping drugs on you, you're handing off, you're taking that risk of getting caught.
Absolutely.
Now, how do you believe that the police are actually visioning? Do you think it's just the fact that you got white, Spanish, Chinese, or black, and he's just so much against black, he goes straight to the black? Or do you think that it's the fucking Spanish that's dressed like Ricky Martin with like a tight-ass fucking medium shirt? Maybe you got the fucking white kid with the dirtbag jeans that are ripped and just a regular fucking white T-shirt tank top on. Or you got the black dude with the backwards hat, baggy jeans, Timberlands, just with the fucking mean mug face.
Well, it's not even about that. It's an easy game to find out how to get to the person that has the cheese. The mice and the cheese game. You throw, if you took a warehouse and there was a huge warehouse and there was boxes everywhere, and then you went in there and you turned on all the lights, you won't see a mouse anywhere, especially if you didn't make any noises. But if you took a bunch of cheese and you just threw it into that room, turned off the lights, and then came back 30 minutes later, you would see a bunch of mice scattering all over the fucking place. It's the same thing with cocaine or drugs or anything of that matter. So here's the thing. Here's how you spot the cheese. And here's how you spot the mice. Once you put the cheese out there, which is the drugs, blacks, they watch these movies. They watch the Scarface. They watch the Bellies. They watch the, Paid in Fulls. And they feel like
Goodfellas.
Goodfellas.
Did blacks watch The Godfather? I meant to say
The Godfather.
Was that too Italian for you to watch?
Dude, I seen them all.
I never seen any of them.
Oh wow, you're kidding?
No, I just watched Star Wars for the first time 3 years ago, and I binge watched the shit out of it.
Your kid
Never.
fuck.
Yes,
No,
I kid you
I
not.
still haven't watched Star Wars.
Well, actually, it was the episode that came out with the black man that came out. They were promoting the shit out of it and all this and that in Star Wars. And I heard a lot of friends and people it was a big deal. It was a big deal that
Whitey got you. He put the black guy in front of your face, and then he got you to Star Wars.
I sold out.
He got you to his product.
I sold out
by putting the black guy in front of you, and then you binge watched.
For 2 days. But there was no black dude in those 2 days I was watching. So I binge watched 2 days' work to watch a 2-hour movie.
Got you.
I just wanted to see what it was.
Worked.
I wanted to see what it was for a black man to face a Jedi. I never gave a fuck about a Yoda and a Jedi. Yeah. I wanted to see this fucking movie so bad. I watched 6 episodes. Yet, like I said, everywhere I go, maybe if you didn't know me, you think I'm a fucking Italian, yes?
Yeah.
I get this Italian shit my whole life. I've heard people talk Spanish about me where I had to confront them saying that I'm the Italian kid or the white boy, whatever the fuck it was. I've never, ever watched an episode of The Godfather.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. But yeah, I'm not even going to touch on that. We can touch on that when we're going to be a little bit more comedic, and then we can clown you a little bit for sounding like...
Write that down.
Somebody from Jersey Shore and not even seeing... one movie.
Paulie Loose, not Paulie fucking Paulie D, Paulie Loose.
But yeah. So here's the thing. So these black dudes, they go into their neighborhoods. They're slinging heavy drugs, yo.
And they're bragging about it. So what?
They're making hundreds of thousands of dollars. They're making more than everybody in the neighborhood. Millions of dollars eventually. And guess what? They cannot control themselves. They can't do it. They start
splurging.
They're going to, you've seen the fight. I mean, you've seen the movie with Denzel, American Gangster. They're going to the fight. They're at the front row seat. They're pulling up in the nicest BMW. They got the jewelry on. They're louder than Wendy Williams after some major gossip happened. So. Understand this. It's very easy to catch them if you're the police because all you got to do is sit back and watch the neighborhood. And then you go, whoa. How does Daquan Johnson have the 745 Beamer when it just came out? And his pops is a plumber.
7:45.
So next thing you know, they just pull him up. They just keep pulling him over. And boom, they're able to find the major drugs. But then... while they're doing that.
Yeah, but is Daquan Johnson stupid enough to be driving around smoking a fucking blunt? Which, if that's the case, he does deserve to get everything that comes to him for being that stupid.
Well, look, there's a lot of things there's a lot of mistakes that are made in that process from, actually showing them all the money that you've made by driving these expensive vehicles, so on and so forth. But I'm not even talking about fully the Daquan Johnsons. I'm talking about the people that are on a very much lower level that are still getting incarcerated and getting the shit end of a stick because of low end crimes that are very minuscule compared to their counterparts who are these Caucasian individuals that are using the same drugs, but for some reason are not getting in the same type of trouble. And it's happening at a 3-to-1 ratio. Now, if you imagine this going on for years and years and years and years and years, and these are all end up being like felonies, a lot of them on people's records, how are they going to vote? How are they going to make a difference in their community? How are they going to change their community and then eventually change the United States?
But why is that so important? Because if that's the case, if for all of those men and women that could have voted this time, the 2/3 that you're talking about, who the fuck would they have voted for anyway? Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton? Why is it so important to vote? I'm a registered voter and I didn't vote. It ain't that fucking important to me.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, there's a lot of black people out there that are very much involved in politics. I'm not at all. I could give two shits. But I do understand that does make the difference. And I know that there are people that are focused on it, and I'll let them debate and do all of that other corny shit. Me, myself, I'll just sit back and, do what I always do, just judge people and feel good about myself, But as far as what's going on with the war on drugs, what's interesting now is that the reverse is happening in front of our eyes. Back in the day, listen to this. Cannon, check this out. Back in the day, they used to give crack to African Americans to try and destroy the community.
For free?
Well, they introduced it to the community, to the minority community, so that blacks could start using crack.
Where did this take place?
It's in the cities. I mean, you're interviewing me like
no,
Harvard professor. Now, let me tell you something, bro. I could sound extremely intelligent, but
we're talking history. You're bringing up history. So if there's history, there's facts in history.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious, where did this take place that they wound up passing off this crack?
Yeah, well, in the city. My mind and brain is only taking me to a visual of like a Brooklyn project.
So urban areas.
Urban areas, definitely. Right?
In what years? During what years?
Definitely the 80s. 80s, 90s, crack heavy, right? But at the same time, white people are still doing heavy cocaine in parties, in their office. Like, it's no problem. But black people, they found a way to ruin black people by doing crack and having that destroy our communities while white people are having a ball and fucking on their lunch break.
Why does crack destroy the community, but cocaine doesn't destroy a different community?
Well, I don't do cocaine, but I've hung around a lot of Caucasian people that have done cocaine. And, from the way that they look when they snort it, they just look like they're listening to heavy metal music in their head, and their eyes are a little bit wider. I've done other things that I think has cocaine in it, so I could kind of understand the feeling to a very lower level degree. So if that was heightened, what I felt, at those times when I think I was drugged at the party, when I think somebody Bill Cosby'd me.
Quaaludes.
May have been a Quaalude or something. I could kind of get an understanding of what cocaine feels like, but it won't destroy you like crack would. Crack would actually destroy you and turn you into a fiend. There's something you're just not supposed to smoke cocaine, because if you do that, it does something to your brain that will turn you into a zombie. But here's the thing. What I was talking about, the reversal, what you're seeing in society right now is a lot of Caucasian kids are being addicted or getting caught with an addiction of oxycodone or Oxycontin, or, whatever the specific name is. But oxy is a form of heroin in a pill format, and there are kids all across the United States. It's like an epidemic that are becoming addicted to this drug. So for me, it's almost like poetic justice, because they purposely made crack an addiction for the African American community, and the rich white kids are now addicted like crazy to oxys and heroin, and you're expecting me to feel bad for these kids? The only tear I can cry is a tear of laughter, bro.
He's a crocodile tear.
I almost feel a tear coming out right now. And you know what? There's going to be somebody out there. Yo, bro, come on, bro. Yo, addiction is serious, man. Yo, let me tell you something, man. Addiction is, I've been addicted to stuff. I think at one point I was addicted to
pussy
porn,
and money.
To porn when I was little,
What's little? How old is little?
I don't know, maybe 12. Right at the puberty stage. It was like, that was when Spice was on TV. I don't know if you remember Spice.
Of course I remember Spice. What you mean? Only thing I remember is Spice, or putting my TV on channel 3 and then figuring out some kind of fucking way to turn the antenna. Those are the only two porns I ever watched.
3 or whatever. 2 to 3, 2 to 3, 2 to 3, 2 to 3, 2 to 3. You got to be quick with it. If you do it, you can see a good 10 seconds.
Enough to rub one out when you was 12 years old.
When you were 12, at that point, my dick was getting harder than, a nuclear bomb from North Korea. Harder than a missile that is, anyway, let's go back to the point.
So what's the answer? So what is this? So when you say war on drugs, the war on drugs, what describe this war? What will defeat drugs?
The only way you can really defeat the war on drugs in society is by making the penalties equal for whites and blacks. You can't have a Stanford dude raping a chick when she's passed out behind a school, and he gets 6 months probation, and then a black dude talks a girl into having sex with him. She finds out that she was a little bit drunk, tells somebody, and next thing you know, he does like 4 years in jail. There's a disparity, a difference in the penalties that are happening in the legal system. So it's not necessarily fully just a war on drugs, but the legal system and the way it looks at blacks and Caucasians or whites or the cleared ones.
Holy shit.
The cleared ones don't even go to jail, though. They are the jail.
Top of your list. Top in the world over God. Piggers or the clear ones? Kenny Lock, we need to know this about you. Who's up
Over
there
God?
in the ranks? I mean, obviously God is probably in the top 5.
Look, no. Nobody's over God. I can't even joke with you on that because God, look, put it like this.
God would have stopped Piggers. God would have stopped the
He
clear ones.
negotiates with them if their offer is good enough. You know what I mean? That's all it is. That's all it is, man. It's negotiations, bro. It's like, yo, God, check this out. Let us whites get at least 400 years over these blacks. You know what I mean? They're stronger, their dicks are bigger, you know what I'm saying? Let's at least get 400 years, bro. It's the least you can do.
And what do they trade with God, though? They teach him how to do the Dougie? What is it that was to offer that God would be interested in?
I don't you know what? You're asking me to think like God, and I'm not gonna think like God, but I do know how to think like a white guy because I've been around them long enough.
So give me a situation where your white mind kicks in.
Okay, so boom, white man
Pulled
kicks
over.
in.
You get pulled over.
All right. Okay, pulled over.
What kind of car are we driving first? Hold on.
A Honda Accord.
Okay. Keep it gangster. 65 and a 15, let's say.
Oh, I'm getting pulled over for doing 65.
65 and a 15.
And I'm white. Am I a teenager?
You're white. And
I'm a teenager, or am I?
No, you're a man. You're a white man.
Oh shit. Okay. How am I dressed? This is important. I got to use my white privilege.
No. You're wearing shorts and a basketball jersey.
Shit. Damn, white privilege.
Like you're wearing a Michael Jordan jersey, but you're wearing like the bootleg jersey that you win a Seaside Heights type shit jersey.
Easy. White privilege card. I am the head of the PTA association at my son's school. As a matter of fact, I may know your wife. I think our wives go to the nail salon together. Boom. That ticket is getting reduced to
you say this before?
No,
you say before you give him your fucking ID or after you give him the registration? And
dude, you do it before. As soon as you know how white dudes are. Like I told you, best DBs in the world can backpedal out of any situation. First off, they're gonna try and get the name. Hey, wait, do I know you? Wait, you can't. They'll find a way to know somebody that knows somebody, and that's how the white privilege starts. So yeah, I don't know exactly. Again, I'm a darkie. So what do I really know?
But in your head, you're a white man, but you know in this pigger's eyes, you're just a black man.
Yeah.
You continue. When do you know that it works? How do you know that this is working on an officer? If he tells you that he doesn't have a wife, as he's writing a ticket, as he asks you to lower the rap music,
well,
then how does
I can't use white privilege? All I can do
you just give in?
I submit to them. When I know that they want me to submit, I submit to them at a rate that confuses their subconscious brain, and it allows them to give ultimate forgiveness to me. It's almost like if they saw a slave drop a bucket of cotton right in front of their feet, and then right before they whip the shit out of them for tripping and fucking up, the slave just looks up at them and says, "Master, don't worry, I will work 5 extra hours to pick up cotton." That's how I make the piggers feel. And then they say, you know what? This is a good nigger.
And they give in.
And just like that, as soon as they say this is a good nigger.
Do they call you sir?
No. They They don't really look me in my eye. You know, that's kind of like submission to white people if they look you directly. And I don't know if you know that. You know?
Right. Any man, I believe that any man.
Well, yeah, you know. But anyway, so right now what's happening with all these teenage white kids being addicted to oxy, it's almost like heroin addiction. And I must say, yo, I'm just having a field day watching this shit. Yo. This shit is absolutely fucking hilarious.
Bravo.
Yeah,
we keep it real on this
absolutely.
fucking show. We're not here to lie to you people. We're not here to entertain.
Yeah.
We're here to offend and keep it real.
Yeah. So there's a major addiction.
So every time you open that paper and you just see an overdose, let's just say an overdose, little poor Jimmy John was found.
Yeah.
Check. Back in the building. Yes, can you hear us? How we sound?
Yeah, we sound pretty good right now, I believe. Check. 1 2 1 2.
Welcome to another edition of Sticks and Stones. I do go by the name of the Loose Cannon. Across from me, as always, Kenny Locke, a.k.a. my homeboy Sticks. What's poppin', Ken?
Yeah, what's poppin'? Sticks in the building. So, finalizing the laughter of Caucasian kids overdosing on oxys. I'm sorry. You guys had no empathy when we were addicted to crack, and you were locking up the drug dealers and locking up the crackheads and locking up their families and making the homes and the communities destroyed. You had no empathy for that. So
my baby Kelly, oh my gosh, she overdosed. She got into my Oxycontin. Now it's sad. Now America opens their eyes and sees there's an addiction, huh? That's all it took.
We're supposed to care.
That's all it took was a blonde-haired, blue-eyed angel that was probably sucking dick for 2 pills every other night.
Damn.
But now it's a shame.
Now it's a problem. Now,
do they still find a way to crucify the black man after all of this?
Nah, you know why? Because these Caucasian kids are starting to look like zombies out there. You know, they're looking like The Walking Dead.
Edward and fucking Bella and the rest of the fucking I know the movie. I had to watch that fucking movie on a date once, Ken. Don't laugh, Twilight.
Yeah.
Please don't judge me, people.
Yeah, so they're, so it's easy to spot them. You know, it's easy to spot the heroin users. You know, they're looking like they lost 50 pounds. They're looking gray. They're not the clear ones. They're the gray ones. Don't confuse the two at all. But, so the war on drugs has taken a crazy turn. White kids are now, having a huge oxy problem with, I think there's a lot of rehabs in Florida. I have some white friends that have gone to Florida.
Me as well.
Look, Florida is the spot, for rehab. But anyway, a lot of blacks, we fell into the trap.
Where would blacks go for their rehabs?
Jail. You call it jail. It's definitely a mentally degrading place. It's ultimate rehab.
Not as nice as Florida, I'm guessing.
Not as nice as Florida. You don't go there for 6 months and then you just, can't make phone calls on the weekends or something, or not at all, or whatever the case may be. In jail, there's a possibility of you getting butt fucked, and that's pretty dangerous, especially when they hold you down by,
I'm pretty sure some of that goes on in Florida as well.
voluntarily. It's a lot of undercover
Racist, undercover racist. Oh, I'm sorry. Every time we think undercover, that's what comes to mind.
Yeah. Well, subconscious racism, undercover racism, literally undercover with the KKK, covering themselves undercover, but subconscious racism is really what we're talking about. But yeah, that's really what it is. Blacks, we need to stop making it obvious. Number one, I think if you're selling drugs right now, you're doing something wrong. Because with all the technology that's out there, you're a fool if you're going to be communicating any type of drug transactions with any type of device. So
PayPal and shit, like your PayPal and your fucking weed man nowadays.
Yeah. If you're watching, if you're selling drugs right now and you think you're being successful, you got another thing coming. There's the hit show Power is just a show. There's I'm sure there's ghosts out there. I'm sure there's Lobos out there, but let me tell you guys something. You wouldn't know the story. We'll never know the story, and the only people that know the story
are the clear ones
and the pickers.
No, I was right. Was I right? That just sounded like the right moment. I kind of lost the story, be honest with you. I was pouring myself a drink, but it was like a dun-dun-dun, and I had to deal with it.
Dude, you know about the clear ones. That's dope.
So what we are speaking on once again is the war on drugs, right? Now, this is not to say this is a topic that may be going on in your mind for a very long time, but you seen a video recently over the internet. Ron Paul and Rand Paul.
Yeah. I just saw this video, and these two white dudes, they stood up for black guys.
That's all they are to you, is just two white dudes that stood up for black dudes.
Well, at the end of the day, I'm all about the bottom line, and the bottom line is, I can go into giving them, full props. It's Ron and Rand Paul. They explained the real reason for the NFL protests, so, and pretty much is, ending the war on drugs. You guys can actually look that up as well. Very powerful information that these dudes were saying in front of all of these white folks, in Congress. That takes some balls to say something like that in front of all of these racist white people that know that you're telling the truth, and they're looking at you like, shut the fuck up. Like, yo, what the hell are you doing? Yo, you're going to let black people get equal rights. Are you fucking crazy? Are you fucking shitting me? You know how much money they have in the fucking bank?
You think in Congress, like in the background, like you hear them white people just cracking jokes and not shutting the fuck up during the Congress speeches? Like when you go to movie theaters? Like, when you go to movie theaters and you hear people in the background? You think those white people in Congress are the same way?
Absolutely, dude. White people have a great sense of humor. And you gotta love them. I gotta mention this. I know I talk bad about a lot of white people, but I must say that if it weren't for them, we wouldn't discover shit, because white people are nosy as fuck. You know what I'm saying? And if it was just down to minorities, blacks and Spanish people, we wouldn't really invent a lot of shit. We'd be by the water. We'd be catching all kinds of fish. Mm-hmm. We would know about dangerous shit like sharks and maybe lions or something. But would we ever get to like the moon or flying a plane? Hell fucking no. We maybe hang glide. You know what I mean? I could see us doing some smooth hang gliding, getting from town to town. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Skiing? How about skiing? Ice skating, possibly?
Black people ice skating? Speaking of which, there's this new Idris Elba movie. I don't know if you've seen the commercial. You know who Idris Elba is?
No.
The black dude that was the superhero. He was also the
Black Panther?
No, he was the black superhero that was popular. Idris Elba. Come on, bro.
The black superhero, Blank Man?
Dude, I'm gonna give you a couple of seconds to figure this, to try and remember.
Give me a better hint than that. A black superhero, nothing comes to mind.
Do you know who Idris Elba is? Okay,
but I know my superheroes.
He's a popular black guy that has like a English accent.
I said the Black Panther. I think I'm correct. That's who it was, from the comic books, that the movie's coming out recently. Or pretty soon, I mean.
The Black Panther. No, I
Yeah.
know he was.
He was in the latest Marvels, Civil War that came out.
Yeah, he was. He had this Dark Tower movie, that was out there. He was. He was in a couple of movies, man. Like I don't know. But the reason why I brought him,
you sound like a good supporter. He was in a couple of movies.
I at least know who the brother is, man. Damn, I at least know who Idris Elba is. He has a European accent. He's a black guy that a lot of black girls like.
When you say black guy European accent, I think of Seal right away.
Yo, come on.
That's who comes in.
Of course.
Kissed by a rose.
Ladies and gentlemen, Cannon, as you can tell, has been raised
faded.
on the East Coast. He's faded.
We are faded, and we were talking about the war on drugs. So you're a believer in the war on drugs. So if this war on drugs is complete and it goes as planned and it's a storybook ending, now no more blacks or Latinos or innocent people or minorities or whatever, none of them go to jail no more, but Sticks, a.k.a. Kenny Locke, can no longer smoke marijuana because all of his dealers are on lockdown and shut down because the war on drugs has finally won. Are you satisfied?
Well, dude, let me tell you something, man. If that ever happened, I'm definitely moving to Colorado.
No. War on drugs being in the United States of America.
So,
period.
So what do you mean? I mean, but
no more drugs being transported for medical reasons.
Marijuana is not a drug, first and foremost.
To the
We're talking about cocaine.
To the piggers, it's considered drugs. So the war on drugs is going to be everything except for alcohol.
There will always be marijuana. Listen to the clear ones.
So the war on drugs got nothing to do with any type of marijuana.
No, the war on drugs. How can look? God made the universe in such a unique way. How can you stop a drug that you could plant and it could keep fucking growing, dude? It just keeps growing. It's infinite. Cocaine has to be made. It has to be imported. It can be grown too, but then it has to be made and it has to be shipped from one location to the next because you can't grow it in the United States because of the leaves that are done in Colombia or whatever the case may be. And you have to look at those farms, and obviously they can regulate that and spot them from a mile away, right?
Never knew all of that.
Yeah. So now cocaine, from a manufacturer standpoint, cannot be done so easily in the United States. So it's easier to track because they see where it's imported, they see where it can go, and they can see where they can trace it. Marijuana, on the other hand, if you got a couple seeds, you could grow a fucking farm in your backyard. Make sense? So it's going to be hard to ever stop.
Makes a lot of sense. What it sounds like is that you're totally against the coke heads, but you're for the weed heads.
No, I love them both. But at the same time, I hate the piggers. I hate the fucking piggers. I think that marijuana is something that is medicine and cocaine is an actual drug.
But the whole point is marijuana is a way for the piggers to use the odor to get back to people like us and lock people the fuck up, or the whole reason why we're speaking of them, possibly kill them.
And that's the war on drugs, ladies and gentlemen.
So what does that have to do with Colin Kaepernick? Was he on fucking steroids? Are you trying to say? How do you relate Colin Kaepernick and the war on drugs?
Because what makes a pigger shoot an unarmed black person is because they're just trying to get an easy ticket. They're pulling somebody over for an illegal turn, not switching lanes, will not turn their lights on so that they can search their car and then do some other stuff to get some other brownie points so they can feel like they're, I don't know, what's a good cop? I don't know, a good cop's a good pigger. What's a good pigger?
Chip, like from the show like Chip.
Matumbo, not Matumbo. What's the other? Columbo. You can feel like fucking Columbo.
But only because you brought it up, the topic, I've made illegal U-turns actually in Long Island. I made I believe there's a right at a light by accident because I do live in Pennsylvania. I do a lot of driving in New Jersey. We can turn at a red light. Did it in Long Island, but it wasn't too obvious or whatever. The cop was far. Guy came, made a U-turn, pulled me over. I had all my paper ready. He questioned me. He looked at me. He looked in my car. I showed no sign of being high, no sign of being hostile, no smell of marijuana, and I got off scotch-free. That's not always the case for all minorities that get pulled over, because I have family, friends, minorities that are stupid enough to drive around with a Philly wrapper on the fucking floor or something like that, or possibly even Visine on the front seat. The cop's not stupid. The cop right away, I believe, sees money. He doesn't see if the driver's black, white, fucking Chinese, Spanish, or whatever the fuck it is. I think now he knows he got a case for his job to make them money, which also promotes him in some type of way. So who does that fall back on? I think that falls back on the individual that's stupid enough to drive around listening to fucking Mobb Deep, which was myself when I was in my fucking teens, smoking weed, and you have the aroma of marijuana. How do you go and just blame the police officer for that?
Yeah. I mean, you're bringing up a specific scenario, and I respect the fact that you're giving it from your perspective. Which is all you can do. Absolutely.
It's an example of what I've been through, what I've done.
Yeah, exactly. And that example is even a safe example from the standpoint, because I, was a teenager in a suburban area, predominantly white area, smoking weed in the car and doing and chilling, and I didn't feel like that threatened. I mean, it was very scary because I knew if I got caught, it could be big news, especially at that time. But I didn't feel that threatened to the point where I was scared for my life. Whereas when I live in the city, and I live in New York, especially at the time, obviously New York is a little bit easier from a targeting standpoint overall, because it's easier to maybe target somebody when you don't see that many blacks. But when you go to New York, it's more so like this system is already in place to bring these people into jail and lock them up for very small, minor offenses of marijuana. So this has been happening for years, and that's why I don't really respect piggers at all. And from that standpoint, I just think that the only way that African Americans could get equal rights in the United States is when the clear ones release their hold from the police union, because the police union is obviously racist. Obviously,
how long have they had a control on them? Have the clear ones had a control on the police?
The clear ones created the police.
So why stop now? Why would they switch up now?
Because
there's camera phones and shit. Why the fuck would they?
We know what they're doing. We see them.
But we have known what they're doing.
Not this obvious. Now it's obvious. There was a police chief the other day that was getting upset that they were freeing innocent black people. And he was just like, yo, what do you mean you're letting them go? They washed my car. They clean my dishes. There's jobs here for them. You're talking about people that you're letting go from prison, and they're speaking to them like as if they're slaves. So, with that being said, we definitely hate Trump, like Eminem said. And, with that being said, I think that it starts there. We get that done, then and only then can we start, then we can start talking about reading books and shit like that, for black people to actually catch up and the right way to think. But until then, we need to start making sure we have the right judges in the legal system, and we don't have a bunch of black people getting arrested for dumb shit. A bunch of Caucasian people.
What's dumb shit? What do you mean dumb shit?
Dumb shit would be, any offense that they're getting a harsher penalty than their counterpart. Whatever a Caucasian, and if a black person and a white person commit a crime and it's the same crime, it just needs to be the same punishment. I don't care what dumb shit it is. We're not really talking about dumb shit.
But that's not how America. But that's not how America is. History of America. America is about the fucking capitalism. It's about the money. If the black man has more lawyer money than what this fucking white man may have, The black man can get off scot-free while the white man also goes to jail for a long time. I believe, I know, actually, it got to do with the money you spend for court, for lawyers, for the business, the main business of United States, which is locking up many people.
Yeah, but why is the percentage so obviously lopsided to African Americans and Caucasians? If you look at marijuana offenses in the court system, and people that are being locked up in prison, I don't know what the numbers were. I don't really remember, but it was something crazy, dude. Like, over 40% of everybody locked up in prison were like minorities for marijuana. 40% of prison. Think about that. Just think about that for a second. Stop. Brace yourself. 40% of prisoners all around the United States are in there because of marijuana offenses. African Americans or minorities.
So 40%. So that means 60% are white?
No, 60% are in there just for other offenses. I'm talking about marijuana offenses. Weed. So 40% minorities.
That was my whole argument before. So you're saying weed, and that's why I was saying the war on drugs, if they stopped weed as well.
Yeah, but you're also talking about...
We can be sitting here doing a sober show right now if this shit ever took place.
Right now, I'm trying to think properly according to this subject, and the Hennessy is just kicking in. So with that being said, we definitely got to wrap it up. And I think it was a good topic. I think that, when it's all said and done, when you think about it, if we can stop that, we can change the entire world. But until we stop that and until we understand that, I mean, you may give your own perspective, and I respect it, Kenan, even though,
I'm an objective hater.
An objective hater.
That's what I am, that I see both sides of the story.
But imagine what the people in Alabama go through. I know a little bit from just living in New York. And I have a little bit of a bias from my experience of living in New York. Now, what happens to the people that live in Mississippi, that live in Alabama?
Now, what, Mississippi, Alabama, are these black states?
Well, they're just segregated states, more segregated than the.
What do you mean by segregated?
Like there's a big difference between the white town and the black town.
But there is in New York as well.
Yeah, but they don't openly call blacks niggers in New York. They can probably do that in the South, and a black person won't spaz out because they're in a part of town that, what the fuck are you gonna do? It's still out there.
Right. But it's always been out there, even since we were fucking kids. I remember being kids hearing race war. Like I told you this a few times. I was on a block where there was all of us, man. Black, white, Spanish, Asian, Arabic. My man was from Albania, all of that stuff. This was the 90s. We knew about race war. We knew when shit hit the fan, and it happens right where you're at, you're either jumping on a side fighting or you shouldn't be there that day. So now, fast forward to 20 some odd years later, why are we shocked? Why is it a big thing that racism is still going on?
I mean, nobody's shocked. I think
there's more. I mean, obviously, there's more documents about it going on, right?
Yeah, there's more footage.
Technology.
Yeah. Technology has come back to bite the white man in the ass.
Which was probably created by the fucking clear ones as well.
Poetic justice. In the same year, think about this. Amazing. In the same year same time period. Not the same year, but it probably was the same year if you think about it, actually, if you look at the numbers. But in the same time frame that camera phones started exposing piggers for the
piggers that they are,
for the disgusting, foolish, cowardly things that they were doing. At the same time, teenage white kids start overdosing on oxys. The universe has a weird way of playing jokes, but.
Elaborate for us. You got to break that down for us before we get out of here. Come on.
Poetic justice. Same things happening in the same time period. We're living in a time period where there's an epidemic of white kids overdosing on heroin. And the nation
I
has an
lost
outcry.
I lost a best friend actually 2 years ago.
Yeah. Because he's your friend, I'll refrain from,
Listen, we're here to fucking offend everybody. I don't know if you understand that as well. I have no sympathy.
I got you.
We all have a choice.
Drugs are drugs. Choices are choices. I had white friends that asked me, to do drugs with them. And I said no,
Were they paying?
Yeah.
And you turned it down?
They always pay. White guy always pays. They'll talk behind your back.
Oh, right.
And then they'll do the smooth Michael Jackson moonwalk back pedal. But
they'll Jason Sehorn you.
They'll Jason Senior. They'll fucking Jason Sehorn you. Absolutely. But yeah, so yeah, man, it's a fucked up world. It is what it is, and it sounds crazier than how I'm making it. But it really just depends on where you grew up. It depends on how you view, your part of life. I grew up in a city where, everybody smoked weed and I was getting arrested all the time. And, I was hoping that they would release me and give me a DAT, but they didn't. I had to stay the night with heroin users, and I had to stay the night with, people that were there for gun charges and scamming. And I'm getting, bugs all over my suits, and you're letting me sleep here because you found a nick bag in my car after you did a cavity search, because you pulled me over and seen a Philly wrapper, like you said, in the cup holder. So now I get out the car and you and your boy, like the great cops that you guys are, the great piggers, top of the line, police academy. You cavity search my car. You find a clip that you couldn't even get a buzz from.
You couldn't even light. You needed tweezers.
You need the tweezers. You would actually see the tweezers. You would unravel it and you'd realize, oh my God, this is just fucking all Dutch and no real bud in here. Just throw it away. It's garbage. Forget about it. They take that and they bring me into the slammer and do all the paperwork, and they come in there high-fiving, bro. These Caucasian guys. Yeah, that's what they do.
It's a moral victory. It's a moral fucking victory for the clear ones, no?
Those are not the clear ones. I mean, it is the moral victory for the clear ones because they're laughing upstairs. The little Joe Schmoes that give themselves the high fives. I don't give a fuck about them. I'm fucking their wives and doing shit like that, and making more money than them. And that makes me feel better. The fact that I can make more money than them, which I do pretty easily.
Right.
It makes me feel better that I could take their ticket and wipe my balls with it.
But it can't make you feel better because look what they have. They have something that's greater than money. The opportunity to go out and kill unarmed innocent people. So what is the money? What are you going to do with all that money if you're one of those fucking victims? And that's what it all falls down to. To me, that's what the fucking Colin Kaepernick taking a knee comes from. Not from the war on drugs. I mean, I understand your story, and I'm very open to everything you say. I learn a lot from you. Let's not get it twisted at all. But that's where it all comes from, and that's not even the sad part. The sad part is all these fucking people out there that do understand that, but they look right past it. They want to act like standing for a fucking national anthem is more serious than an innocent person, human being's life, whether it has to do with drugs or doesn't.
Yeah. Once you have subconscious racism in you, you don't even understand what you're saying. You don't even understand that it's not about the flag. You can't see it past the flag. So, we got to keep the message the same message. It's never about disrespecting America. I love being in America. America's the only place where a dude like me can fuck a white chick, bust on her face, I could know she's dating a pigger, see the pictures on her wall while I'm hitting it from the back, and know that this dude is a loser at his job, and know that I'm making more money than he is. In America, I can do that.
So what does he say if he ever finds out about all of this? Does he just run out and look at you and draws his gun and just tells you, go back to Africa?
Nah. Because he knows that I'd probably break his neck if he didn't have the weapon on him. So what he would do, like most Jason Sehorns, Michael Jacksons later on in their career when they're completely almost clear, they never get to the clear part. What he's going to do is he's going to find a way to destroy me without a confrontation like other white guys do. What they'll do is they'll find out where you work. They'll find out who you know. They'll find out what clubs you're a part of. And then they'll go there and then they'll start giving them rumors about you and trying to make you lose your job. And then when you lose your job, they'll be right there at the bar like, damn, you lost your job? Wow, that's messed up. Who would do such a thing to you? You know, that's the most dangerous part about some of these Caucasian human beings. But they're not all like that. But a lot of piggers are like that. And I think it's because they have small penises. I think it's the small penis syndrome. Yeah. I met some of these guys. I seen them in the locker room. No homo. I'm not looking at guys' penises in the locker room playing sports. I don't do shit like that, right?
But it may cross you once in a while because men walk around free balling in a fucking locker room.
In a locker
room. You get
room.
out the shower.
Exactly.
And you don't expect another man to look at you.
I've been in locker rooms with some of these Caucasian men in high school. I'm talking about high school. We're already in teenage. We're past puberty. And some of these penises are smaller than peanuts, bro.
It ain't cutting it.
It's, I don't know how they please women, But look, I'm going into a tangent. Definitely had a great time kicking it with you, Cannon. We definitely got to come back and kick it again next week. We're gonna do the voting for the banner on Facebook this week. See which one that the viewers like the best, and we're gonna use that for our YouTube channel. We're gonna come back giving you guys some great topics, some more of that flavor, and exactly how we feel. Once again, we love everybody. We hate everybody. If you're offended, I'm glad. And please tell somebody that we should go fuck ourselves and that we ain't shit. And you should never listen to us ever. Don't waste no time listening to us ever.
Hey, also, we want to hear from you guys, man. Leave a little comment on the YouTube chat room or also on the comments below. We're going to interact with some of you motherfuckers as well. We're going to just show you exactly how we get down. Sticks and Stones, Loose Cannon, Kenny Lock. Catch you on the next one.